Shaggy Man!
The beastly hairy giant, who was an unprecedented result of an experiment gone wrong, Shaggy Man is one of the most fearsome villains that the Justice League has ever faced. A supervillain featured in the American comic books published by DC Comics, he made his first appearance in the comic Justice League of America, issue number 45, released in June 1966. Shaggy Man is incredibly powerful and seemingly unstoppable. Created by writer Gardner Fox and artist Mike Sekowsky, this supervillain is shown to be one of the most fearsome adversaries that the Justice League has ever faced. Seemingly lacking high intelligence, Shaggy Man has constantly showcased his unfathomable powers and how he always seems to surpass his limits to put the Justice League on the back foot again and again. Let us now discuss everything we know about one of the most obscure but extremely formidable villains of the Justice League. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Exploring the backstory and evolution of Shaggy Man. Dr. Andrew Zagarian, a scientist obsessed with finding a substitute for human tissue, is the reason that the Shaggy Man came into existence in the first place. Andrew Zagarian had successfully developed a synthetic human tissue named plastalloy, a marvelous discovery that would aid healthcare worldwide and make procedures such as organ transplants infinitely easier. Much to the vein of his efforts, Andrew decided to infuse the plastalloy with salamander DNA. This was a catastrophic, misdirected approach towards what he thought would simply strengthen the artificial tissue. Instead, as a result of this, the body that the doctor was working on started to grow exponentially large in size. This was the origin of the beast that the doctor dubbed the Shaggy Man. The creature rose to be a monstrous 10 foot 5 inches tall, towering over many sections of the facility. As explained by the doctor himself, the surging power from the generator resulted in the excessive intake of energy in the body's brain, which should not have worked at all. This error was the reason that the body became a pseudo-life form that was essentially mindless, rampaging through the facility, breaking walls, crushing machinery, and basically destroying anything that it sees. Shaggy Man was berserking through the area. The Doctor was absolutely outclassed and helpless and sought the aid of the Justice League to stop this outrage by the creature of his creation. After the Justice League arrived upon reading the distress signal, which was a letter written by Andrew Zagarian, asking for aid, the Doctor explained how the Shaggy Man had seemingly impenetrable skin and lacked intelligence. After this briefing and analyzing the situation, the Justice League employed various tactics that they could use to slow down the Shaggy Man. But even after numerous attempts, the creature was able to overpower the superheroes, and it seemed as if his rampage only grew with every failed attempt. The Flash used a variety of traps, techniques, and mind games to get himself an advantage over Shaggy Man, but all of his attempts fell short. The Flash acknowledges how the creature is able to adapt to the dangers that it has experienced already. It was troublesome how a seemingly mindless creature could analyze and adapt itself to harm's way so quickly, easily, and efficiently. Eventually, after brainstorming every possible idea to face off against the Shaggy Man, the Flash came up with a brilliant idea to create another Shaggy Man. Instructing the Doctor to create a clone of the beast, Flash started creating a bottomless and hollow pit. His plan was to capture the two beasts in the hole of his creation so that they could endlessly fight each other and be perpetually stuck within a walled premise. To no one's surprise, Flash idea worked to perfection, and the Justice League was able to neutralize the monstrous threat of the Shaggy Man. Although effective, this solution by the Flash to the problem of Shaggy Man was not perfect. It was in Justice League of America issue 104 that Shaggy Man makes his eventual return. Incapable of escaping from his endless trap, Shaggy Man was assisted by the villain Hector Hammond. Hector used his psionic powers to locate and free Shaggy Man from his captivity. He employed his powers against the Justice League by teleporting the monster to the League's satellite in space. Hector's motives were to seek revenge against the heroes for imprisoning him, and instead of using his own powers to do so, he sought to control the limitless powers of the Shaggy Man. Upon his arrival inside the satellite, Shaggy Man continued its rampaging antics. The creature simply attacked anything that moved, and all the Justice League members were caught off guard and were initially overpowered by this monster. The battle between the superheroes against Shaggy Man was of great proportions, and unable to sustain such amounts of damage, the satellite failed to maintain its course and was going straight towards the Earth, and with nothing to stop it, the crash would be disastrous. During the battle, Shaggy Man was able to adapt to everything the League threw at him, and he simply rampaged further and showed no signs of taking damage or slowing down. Even the combined efforts of the entire Justice League were not enough to stop Shaggy Man, who seemed to be hellbent on only one thing: destruction. After plowing through the rest of the League, Shaggy Man made his way to challenge Superman, who was outside the satellite trying to fix some damage. To Superman's surprise, Shaggy Man was able to keep up with the Kryptonian due to his regenerative abilities. Every time Superman would break him apart, Shaggy Man would regenerate a new body and continue fighting. As the battle raged on, the satellite reached dangerously close to Earth. With Superman busy fending off Shaggy Man's attacks, there was no one who could change the satellite's course. Then, out of the sky appeared Green Lantern, who was able to redirect the satellite back into orbit and save the thousands of people in imminent danger. Then Green Lantern turned his attention towards the threat of Shaggy Man, who was sent to fight inside the satellite under mind control by Hector so that he could target Green Lantern from the beginning. The League then made coordinated efforts to minimize the damage that Shaggy Man could cause, and it was not until Green Lantern came up with an idea to neutralize him that the League gained the upper hand. While Shaggy Man was facing Lantern, Hector's control over the monster had also worn off, leaving the beast to be completely mindless once again. Green Lantern then used all of his willpower and most of his ring's energy to ensure that he could contain Shaggy Man. His plan was to turn the monster miniature in size, which would allow the League to keep him in captivity without imposing much danger to them. After using tremendous amounts of power, Green Lantern was finally able to reduce Shaggy Man's size and capture him. This was an absolutely fantastic feat, as Shaggy Man was able to fight on par with Superman as well as the whole Justice League combined. Thanks to Lantern's efforts, the League was able to keep Shaggy Man imprisoned and under tight security. Later, Green Lantern and the Flash make sure to get rid of the second Shaggy Man that they had first encountered while on their mission to stop the other Shaggy Man. Reports of his eventual return were given to the Justice League, as he had left his trail of destruction everywhere he went. The Justice League were informed of Shaggy Man's return by two Russian cosmonauts who were tasked with recruiting the League's aid via face-to-face communication, as they did not want to alarm the world about Shaggy Man. The League was briefed by Colonel Petra Rostov about the monster, and the heroes were shocked to see that she was referring to Shaggy Man. Eventually, when the Justice League was engaged in combat with the beast, they knew that the tricks they had used earlier on the creature were not going to work. The rest of the members decided that they would follow Batman's lead, but Batman had not informed them about his plan. He simply instructed them to distract the monster. Again, all of the physical efforts made by the League proved futile, having no effect whatsoever on Shaggy Man's impenetrable skin. Batman had made sure that he was following the plan that he originally made to deal with Shaggy Man, while the other heroes were busy making sure the monster did not run loose. Eventually, Batman got control of a missile silo from Russian intelligence and lured the Shaggy Man to the missile with verbal taunts and other gestures. As the missile launches, the other members of the League realize that Batman has situated himself on top of the missile to continue to lure Shaggy Man to himself by mocking him. Just when the members thought that Batman had sacrificed himself, he revealed to them that he had outsmarted the monster by placing a clone of himself with a radio on top of the missile to grab Shaggy Man's attention. This would ensure that the monster is stuck to the missile, which is programmed to go to an unknown destination by Batman. The Shaggy Man would later make another return, this time facing off against Aquaman. The King of Atlantis is able to stop the rampaging monster by capturing him in a capsule-like prison deep within the fathoms of the sea. His victory does not come easy, as Shaggy Man proves to be far more formidable than he had imagined. Later, the capsule was found by General Wade Eiling and his Ultramarine Corps. This provides General Eiling with an opportunity of a lifetime, as he can increase his lifespan by transferring his mind and consciousness into the impenetrable body of Shaggy Man. In doing so, he would ensure that the fatal brain tumor that he was recently diagnosed with would not be able to take his life. After successfully accomplishing the procedure, General Eiling was able to not only escape his fate of dying of a brain tumor, but also became a superpowered being who could go toe-to-toe with the Justice League. Shaggy Man cameos in Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Shaggy Man is quite an obscure character within the DC universe. He is usually only known by old-school hardcore fans of the Justice League of America comic series, which was released in the 1960s. With a number of appearances that you can count on your hands, Shaggy Man is not necessarily a character that is on everyone's radar when asked about the most potent and dominant Justice League villains. But for the handful of people that are actually fond of the beastly Sasquatch-esque character with a humorously endearing name, the writers of the animated show Batman, the Brave and the Bold had a surprise. The Shaggy Man has made a total of 2 cameos in the renowned Batman cartoon series. Although he was not in much of a leading role as an antagonist in those episodes, for the people who could recognize the character, it was a pleasant surprise. Also, we would like to mention that this version of the Shaggy Man was heavily nerfed in comparison to the story arcs that we covered previously, as this is an alternate version of the character made to fit with the story according to the needs. In this case, Shaggy Man would not be fighting the entire Justice League, rather he would only be fighting Batman and his friends. The first appearance of Shaggy Man comes in episode 19, titled Legends of the Dark Might from Season 1. The episode introduces the character of Bat-Mite, who hails from the 5th dimension and is a self-proclaimed biggest fan of Batman. Bat-Mite wanted to see his favorite superhero in action, and for him to take his rightful place as the only true hero there ever was. In order to do so, the brattish imp ignores what Batman has to say to him and summons supervillains that would pose a threat to Batman. His plan was to make Batman fight off a supervillain that is considered to be a significant threat so that everyone could see how powerful and capable Batman truly is. His innocent but short-sighted wish was for others to view Batman to be on the same pedestal as he does. To do so, he first summoned Gorilla Grodd, then as Grodd charged Batman, he changed his mind and switched him with Solomon Grundy, and then changed his decision once again to finally turn Grundy into Shaggy Man. Batman would later trick Bat-Mite into turning Shaggy Man into Calendar Man, who Batman easily persuades to fake the oncoming hit to put on a show for Bat-Mite. This brief cameo ensured the fans that the creators have not forgotten about Shaggy Man and are choosing to keep him as an obscure Justice League supervillain. Shaggy Man would make another cameo soon at the beginning of the second season in episode 2, titled Long Arm of the Law. The episode starts off with Batman and Plastic Man as they explore a hidden outpost in the countryside. There, they are concerned to discover broken cages and gigantic footsteps engraved in the ground, all pointing in the direction of a Camp Scout jamboree. Understanding that someone must require their help in this scenario, the duo pursue the signs to a place where they see the scouts in danger as they have been captured by the Sasquatch monsters, which are basically clones of Shaggy Man. The heroes notice how the monsters are fast asleep, so they take this opportunity to start the operation of freeing the scouts. While releasing the victims, the two heroes make an effort to be as silent as possible to not invite danger. At one point, Plastic Man startles a squirrel, which causes it to bite his hand. However, he is successful in staying silent by binding his lips together to stop himself from screaming. Plastic Man even catches a fly that could possibly disturb one of the monsters. All goes as planned. Or so they thought. Right when they have rescued everyone, one of the scouts sneezes, which makes Plastic Man say Gesundheit, which is another way of saying bless you when someone sneezes. This humorous exchange is heard throughout the forest, waking all of the Shaggy Men up. They then attack Batman and Plastic Man, who successfully fight them off while defending the scouts, and then take a big sigh of relief. What made Shaggy Man such a powerful opponent? For a character whose only two weaknesses are a lack of high intelligence and a monstrous appearance, you can be assured that the character in question is exceptionally formidable and can easily rank higher than most Justice League villains. Shaggy Man is one of the most powerful supervillains that the Justice League has faced. The only reason for the League to come out triumphant has been its intelligence. The heroes have made contraptions and used trickery to defeat the monster without beating him by using their wits and quick thinking. But apart from that, no one from the Justice League has been able to put even a scratch on Shaggy Man's body. Shaggy Man possesses superhuman strength and reaches Kryptonian levels of power. His strength is put in the spotlight when he battles the Man of Steel in one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat with no trouble. He has even been shown to handle multiple members of the Justice League at once, matching all of their combined efforts with his strength. He shows no signs of ever slowing down, as if all his mind can think of is destruction. Over the multitudes of his appearances, Shaggy Man has relentlessly fought the Justice League without any pauses whatsoever, which showcases how high his stamina actually is, arguably infinite. Shaggy Man has been shown to survive the vacuum of space, Superman's punches, Green Arrow's arrows, Flash's fury of punches, and even Green Lantern's creations. He is seemingly invulnerable, and as an added bonus, if someone is able to break his body down into pieces, he possesses the ability to regenerate. Shaggy Man simply restores his body whenever it is broken apart, as seen during his fight with Superman. Shaggy Man has been captive most of his life, and has shown no signs of aging, which can only imply that the creature is immortal. He has never even shown any signs of pain, as if his brain is not smart enough to register the pain that his body feels. Apart from ensuring his elongated life as an artificially created form of life, the monster does not even require any food, water, air, or rest. It is basically a weapon made for endless battling at this point. But even after all of the mentioned powers that the Shaggy Man possesses, none come into comparison with his adaptive ability. Shaggy Man can adapt to any attacks, techniques, or tricks used against him once. That means if Shaggy Man experiences a weapon that shoots fire at it, the next time he encounters the same weapon, fire will not affect him. He has the innate ability to grow a resistance to any attacks that he has been on the receiving end of just once. This ability, mixed with his invulnerability, is one of the most outrageous combinations out there, as it makes him simply unstoppable in direct combat. Conclusion. In conclusion, Shaggy Man is one of the strongest villains the Justice League has ever faced. He possesses some of the same abilities that Doomsday has, wherein he always comes back stronger, which tells us how insanely powerful he really is. Although widely unknown, this obscure villain of the Justice League of America is sure to catch some of your attention with its superpowered antics and completely mindless but powerful appearance. We can only hope that the DC writers would explore the character further and make the Justice League discover new ways to deal with the ever-living threat of Shaggy Man. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.